Hi, I'm Ethan Colangelo. I'm currently making a work for NDT2, and I'm here with...
I'm Joey Gertin, and I'm a dancer with NDT2 in my second season.
So we started with this idea of escapism, a place where people go to either distract or absolve themselves from daily practices or ideas. And the initial thing that came up was this nightlife per se. So we began with this language of a dystopian rave. So the three ideas that these came from were the compression, imagine feeling, suffocated by a crowd, then feeling the moment of breath and meditation where you need a moment to be alone in space, and then the moments of an outside force pulling me through space. And that is related to either the environment pulling you through space, the music pulling you through space, or a person pulling you in space. So those three ideas really derived from the initial idea of this kind of dystopian rave escapism. So today we just wanted to give a small insight to something we've been working on. We're going to touch base on a solo that is comprised of three physical states, one being an implosive, very tight idea, the second being an outside force carrying my body through space, and the third being this meditative breath. The solo is comprised of these three ideas, and we've been working on how to construct it into a dance sequence per se. We're going to go through it once and then see how this evolves. Okay, so we start on the knees and we're kind of jumping into an excerpt of the solo, and we begin with that state that I talked about of the compression and tightness and implosion towards my center. I then get pulled forward in space and find a sense of breath and meditation inside my arms before my knees come from underneath myself, and I come into two gestures that fall me forward, and then someone takes my body around, and then I snap myself back to center. Chuk. From there, we have a small improvised idea that deals with the beginning, where my hands in my head are pulling me back in space, and I keep letting that idea build until I find a breath of my head, my throat exhaling as my fingers fall downwards. From there, I imagine again that outside force pulls me from my head, brings me around to my knees, and then that impulse continues as I fall back and arrive on my back. From there, that implosion and that pressure starts to come in towards my body, and I connect my hand and my head really as tight as possible until that creates a sense of release, and I go again into the outside forces, pulling and shifting my body in space. So we become really, really tight and as compressed as possible, and then from there we release and connect around to come up. When I get immediately into this moment to get on my knees, I find a sense of breath and ease and really embodying that meditative state to continue for a moment before my hips get dragged to the corner. I pull myself around. Exactly. From there, after I pull myself around, that sense of, again, someone pulling my body in space continues as I find a rotation around my center and come up and over my body. So we just came from coming across, I'm stepping on the right foot, and I'm sending my body away and around, and then up and over my center to come across. From there, let's just go back. So we just got to here, pull my center, come across, moving around my body, shifting over, exactly. From there, that pull creates a sense of snap, going back into the breath and meditation inside the arms. From there, I get pulled into this gesture we had from before that then brings my body through the floor and knocks my head down in space. From there, someone pulls my arm out from underneath myself, and I create a sense of fall to then slip my legs out for the last thing and find that sense of breath as I move forward in space. So again, we're trying to connect each movement to the three ideas of compression and implosion, breath and meditation, and then a manipulative outside force dragging and carrying my body in space. We'll have Joey try the sequence once, and then we'll talk about how we improvise through it and expand on it. So we begin on the knees, starting with the compression in the own timing to then find the breath through the arms up. I get pulled to the corner before I tip and someone pulls me around my center and I snap to the front of space. Before this compression comes in, I let the breath evoke before I come around my center and I fall back on myself. That tightness and compression and implosion starts to come in again before an outside force releases my body and pulls me into a moment of breath and ease. Again, outside force takes my hips to then shift me around my center, through and across, to then snap into the breath before I get pulled down in space really quickly and then sending my body out. So that is the kind of base of where the solo is derived from. And now we're gonna work on with Joey for a brief moment, how we can explore this more through an improvised lens, where we use ideas of time, of duration, of playing with how extreme or less extreme the idea is, to have a little bit more of an uneven timing to it, and a kind of going in and out of the world with his own devices. So Joey's gonna try it again and use these tools to play with it in that regard. So we start. Nice. Keep the pressure alive. Playing with repetition and duration as it continues. Nice. Beautiful. Outside forces pulling me before I find shifts in my center. Nice, beautiful. And letting the tightness come in your own timing, duration, and frequency. Nice. Keeping the breath alive in this moment before I get pulled around myself, coming across my center. Nice. And playing with time evolving, creating surprise and spontaneity. Beautiful. Good, so that was an interpretation, really beautifully done, as how we can evolve it and change it so that we have this base layer, and then seeing how the dancer can kind of put their own twist, spin, and timing changes inside it. So basically where this solo kind of arrives, this excerpt that we just showed, is after the first section of the piece, which is a lot of durational ideas and build-ups upon the three movement methodologies that we just discussed. So basically this is like an exploration of having this constants with the group where we have these three ideas repeating over and over and over again, and then it gets to a halt where we kind of isolate Joey in the space and give him some time to explore the ideas in his own regard, own timing, and own amount of, exploration of the ideas, yeah.
I feel like in Ethan's vocabulary, the sort of contrast between qualities is very much present. And I think with that, there comes this sort of unexpected playfulness within the work. I mean, it's set choreography for the most part, but you will always have the chance and the opportunity to experience it in a different way. So that's very enjoyable for me.